Hi, this is Eric, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, right down there is a subscribe button. Click that, subscribe with us. We would love to have you along for the journey. So I had a great opportunity to get and sit with these both, and it's really funny that there's so much stigma that goes along with the adult industry and the challenges of even being an addict and the stigma that goes along with being an addict of, when I go out with my friends and stuff, nobody wants to order a beer or any kind of drinks because they're like, oh, well, you're trying to get sober. And it's like, you know what? It's a journey that we're all on, and it's different for everybody. And the more that we hear other people's shares and other people's stories, the more it reminds us that we're not alone. And these two were just great to be able to sit with for a couple hours and have the chance to talk with, because it's just such a realness. And they're both really making the best out of their lives. They're successful, and I give them all the props in the world. And so this is the first part of our podcast that I had done with Edin, and just having her share her experience of, we all start really young usually when it comes to addiction. I started at 14 drinking and getting high. And it just was something that transpired later on, more and more in life, and just became something that was very natural. So it's hearing their stories just reminds us all that, what, we're not alone and that we can do it. And, just hearing somebody's collapse and fall and then their rise up is just, it's so powerful. And it's one of those that does inspire you. And we never know who our words will reach, and we never know who will inspire by what we share. And that's why it's so important. That's why, like, even in a lot of the programs that are out there, there's so much about sharing and so much about sharing your story, because, everybody can relate to different stories. And hearing it over and over again and from different people, you never know what words are really going to connect and really going to click with you and, make you decide to, hey, I'm going to change my life and I'm going to do something more. So I hope that you get a lot out of this just like I did. And it was a great experience with these both. I can't thank them enough. So here it is, the first part of sitting and getting to actually talk to Edin about getting sober and on her journey. Tell me your story. So your name is?
Edin.
Okay, Edin. And how old are you?
30.
30? Okay. And we're on a couch, and it's not backdoor casting couch. Come on, I mean, let's face it, I'm a guy, I know what porn is.
Show us your titties.
I thought it was so funny. I was like, dude, we could totally do it on the couch, and then we could do it on the bed like girls do porn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, that's my twisted sense of humor. So you're 30 years old, and how long have you been sober for?
19 months.
19 months. Okay. So when did you first start using, I guess you could say?
I first started smoking weed when I was like 13.
Do you think weed is a gateway drug, realistically?
Yes.
Really?
Kind of.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm like a firm supporter of medical marijuana.
Uh-huh.
And I just know for me, the people that I was smoking weed with, like the kids that I was smoking weed with, were older than me.
Uh-huh.
And they were doing other stuff too.
Okay.
So it's like the kids that I was smoking weed with at 13 were also interested in drinking and smoking cigarettes and
sprinkling cocaine on their weed.
that as well, yeah.
That's awesome.
But I don't necessarily think that like all kids that smoke weed end up like us.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Just some of us lucky chosen ones do.
Yeah.
Okay. So you started off smoking weed, and then when did you move on to other real drugs?
Other real drugs.
Yeah. Well, because it's one of those that you have to explain.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, oh, well, pro weed or against weed or they're for weed or whatever.
Yeah, no,
like...
I mean, so my mom was super liberal, like, raising me, and would, like, at first she was like, I don't want pot in the house, but then she was, she kind of just realized, I have an older brother.
Mm-hmm.
He's, like, just a little more than a year older than me, and she realized that we were going to smoke, so she just wanted, like, she was almost more happy if we were just going to stay home, like, with our friends, you know, so she was kind of cool like that. But I think in 8th or 9th grade, I started with, like, the Adderall and the cocaine and the alcohol, and then...
You started with Adderall. Did you snort it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did. I had a boyfriend in high school whose father was a doctor, and they kept a lot of pharmaceuticals in their house, and, like, he had an older brother that was prescribed Adderall. Like, I remember going in their house, and I found, like, this bottle that was, like the big bottle of, like, 200 Adderalls, 20 milligram, 30 milligram, just, like, so much, and obviously, like, we sold some because we were smart kids, but then
You knew what you were doing. You
Right.
know? You gotta fund this somehow.
Yeah. But I was doing Adderall a lot in high school.
Okay. And then,
Drinking a lot in high school.
what grade was that, would you say?
When I first started,
Uh-huh.
like 8th or 9th grade.
Damn.
Yeah.
And that's what most of the kids are, and parents who don't realize that.
Yeah. My mom was really pissed when she found out I was smoking cigarettes. So we had like this conversation where she was like, look, like if you are going to make adult decisions, then you need to act like an adult.
Okay.
Which means you have to be honest with me. So it cultivated this like environment of honesty and like openness with her. And so she knew.
Oh, so
pretty
she
much.
was aware like the whole time of everything.
Probably not every little thing, but like she just wanted to be in on it. You know, like she wanted to just know what was going on with me so it wasn't like a big surprise.
Right. No, that makes sense.
Which I think is a lot better than for me, like than like hearing about like people who had parents that were super overbearing and like tried to control them.
It made it more of a comfortable environment, and I know how you tell me about when you got sober, of how your mom was during that, because usually if a parent's really open with their kids, they're very open and supportive during their sobriety and getting sober.
Yeah.
I won't say that's always the case, but I've noticed that that's a lot more the case.
Yeah.
Other than the overbearing parents who are like, what the hell are you doing, and will not take them to AA, will not, have them as part of any program because they don't have an issue. Okay, so you started using, you graduate high school, and then what?
So I'm from Massachusetts.
Okay. What brought you out to Arizona?
My mom moved out here.
Okay.
Yeah, she met my stepdad, and he was from here, so we moved out here, and I was like 17, and I was, I had done psychedelics at that point. I mean, drinking was like a normal every weekend thing.
Right.
Like I so desperately wanted to be an adult. Like very early, like I want my freedom.
Right, and I would adult it with beer.
Right.
Or vodka.
Right,
or
because
whatever.
that's what I thought being an adult was.
Adults get to drink.
Yeah. So we moved out here, and then from like 17 to 24, I would not stay here. I would meet boys. I would leave. I would travel. I landed in a couple different cities. I was back home. And kind of everywhere I went, I would get a job, enroll in the community college, like try to get some classes under my belt, and drink and party in between. And then I ended up back in Massachusetts, and my best friend from high school was doing oxys.
Okay.
And at that point, I was like, I just didn't know. I didn't know anything about them, like I'd heard about heroin because I had like an older cousin that I heard had done heroin and was like all fucked up about it.
Right.
But I didn't really know. And I remember like coming to visit her, like I was living in Boston and she was in Western Massachusetts, and I remember going to visit her one weekend when she was kicking, and I just like I'd never seen that before, and I was like, why are you so sick? Why are you so sweaty? Like what's going on? And then fast forward a year later, and we're living together with our boyfriends, and all four of us are snorting painkillers and partying and drinking, and that was at 23.
Oh shit.
So after 4 years of like kind of like traveling and like trying to do school and trying to like get my shit together, figure out what I wanted to do with myself, then I land back home and start doing drugs. And within the first, I would say 6 weeks of my relationship with oxycodone, I had kicked for the first time. Like I got sick for the first time. The guy I was dating, his father was he was a veteran, and he actually ran AA meetings at the VA hospital. And so we went to him. He gave us all the information. This is what meetings are. This is what Suboxone is. Perhaps you want methadone, and just like handed us all the information. So that was within the first, just very, very beginning of my using career. I started to pursue a solution.
Okay.
And I did that for the next 6 years.
At least you were looking for the solution.
Well, I
you
knew
know?
it was like I had a really good head on my shoulders.
Right.
Like even though I partied when I was younger, it's like I was always the friend that like parents didn't really worry about their kids hanging out with me because I was responsible and like seemed to make good decisions and got, you know.
I think that's something to think about though. You spent 6 years trying to pursue the solution.
Yeah.
Like,
took me a long time to get it.
and I relate to that too because like the second I found out I was like strung out on heroin, I had tried to fucking get sober for like that same amount of time.
Yeah.
And like you go in and you fucking try and like you can get sober for like a little while, but like once you're fucking stuck on like once you're strung out, especially on fucking opiates, like you will get stuck. Like no matter what, no matter how bad you want to get sober, like it's
yeah, like so like despite the good head on my shoulders, like I still, you know, the like that first little blue pill that I snorted, I was like, I think I was supposed to feel like this like my whole life. Like this is amazing.
Right.
I don't give a shit about anything. You know? Like I'm not insecure anymore. I like am relaxed. That little voice in my head that's always talking shit to me is quiet, you know? Like I don't know. And it's like I had some programming from before of like, oh, drugs are bad. So I think that's why I pursued recovery so early and like was willing to kind of like figure it out. But I was just in the beginning. It was still fun, you know? And so I remember going to that first meeting and I remember being like, what the fuck is this? These people are old. I don't like, they're chanting, you know, like, and I went to NA first, but I was like, you know, for me, it's like, it's not just the drugs, it's all, you know, the behaviors that go with it, the manipulation, the lying, the cheating, the stealing. It's like all of that is part of it for me. And so, you know, I ended up getting on a Suboxone clinic like really early, but I ended up figuring out how to like dope fiend the clinic.
Right.
You know, figure out how to pass my drug test, use in between, get my Suboxone, pass my drug, you know, like, and I figured out how to do that, and I was stuck in that cycle for like 2 years, 3 years.
Oh yeah, and they just keep giving it to you too.
Right.
And they don't. I mean.
And if they kick you out, you just go to another clinic.
Yeah. That's.
So I wasn't ready at that point, you know, and like, you know, there was a phone call to my mom at one point where I was like, hey, like, it's getting kind of bad, and my father ended up passing away. That best friend ended up overdosing and passing away. And I ended up coming out here again and living with my mom and like pursuing recovery out here for the first time in Arizona.
How long ago was all that?
2014.
Okay.
Yeah, is when I moved out here, and I got here and I think I stayed clean for like 4 months.
Okay.
And then met a boy and started using again and started shooting up out here, and it's, you know, the heroin out here is different. It's not it's black tar, it's not like powdered, so what do? You shoot it. And I had never shot up before. I was just like really kind of stuck on that stigma of like, oh, I only put things up my nose.
Right.
You know?
Well, the funny thing too is if you talk to a lot of parents, especially like the Midwest, because that's where I'm from, they picture it only as shooting up. They don't realize that you can snort it. There's like other methods than just shooting it up.
Yeah, I did try to smoke it, but I have weak lungs. So my body didn't really like that. Not that it liked shooting up anymore, but yeah, I don't know. So I got out here and it got bad, and I ended up splitting up. We made a decision together because I overdosed.
Oh, shit.
And so we ended up splitting up, and I got clean for the first time in 2015, and I stayed clean that time for 16 months.
Okay.
And I knew about NA because I had pursued it in Massachusetts, so I ended up going to a fellowship club in Scottsdale and kind of put myself in the middle there and found friends and had this like nice little recovery life for a little bit, and had a NA boyfriend and NA friends and shared meetings and like.
Now, did you stay single your first year?
No, nobody does that. Nobody fucking does that.
I know.
And I don't know, relapsed and went back out for.
What triggered you to relapse?
I just wasn't done. I don't know how else really to explain it. I mean, they in you know, the program, they say, you know, if you're not doing like these 5 things But I just think that I have a tendency to be a perfectionist, and I have a tendency to overanalyze everything, and I like intellectualized recovery and was really good at it, and worked my steps and called my sponsor, and like, you know, was like did the nice and pretty thing, but I didn't really believe it.
Right.
You know, like I was just doing it because I didn't really know what else to do, and I didn't want to suffer anymore, you know. But like, to be completely honest, like I just wasn't really done, and it like today, like I can say like something, like there was like a psychic shift that has happened in my head that is so obvious to me looking back that did not happen before, where it almost felt like it was like a fake it till you make it kind of thing.
Right.
You know, like I was just kind of doing it because I didn't really know what else to do.
You don't want to be that person, but what do I really do?
Yeah, and I was like living with my mom and like just like trying to get my shit together again, you know.
And it's a bitch to get your shit back together.
Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest, like there have been times in the past where I've relapsed because that process of rebuilding from nothing seems kind of no, it's attractive to me. Like burn it all down to build it back up, because what the fuck else am I gonna do?
I hit the peak again. I'm gonna fucking go back down to the bottom and do it again.
Yeah, that cycle was very attractive to me because it feels so good to hit those milestones of, yes, I got a job. Now I have a vehicle. Now I have a place to live. Now I have money again. Now I feel healthy again. I'm exercising. I'm eating well. And then, I don't know, it's like it was uncomfortable for me to be comfortable for a while. And I realized that it's because there was some pieces that were missing for me the last time I tried to get clean. And so was it 2016 or 2017?
16.
I ended up checking myself into rehab for the first time. I had a good job. I was working at a insurance benefits administrator in their finance department. I had good jobs throughout my entire using. Like I never was without a job. So
how would you use at work? I'm just curious because I know that you had to have used at work.
Smoke in my car in the parking garage.
Just lunchtime.
Yeah, I mean, there was a period of time where, like, things got a little methy. Doing meth in the bathroom, like, snorting it off my phone. But mostly before and after work. And then, yeah, lunch breaks used to be my favorite.
Yeah. No, I have a friend that's going through heroin, and, like, her husband doesn't know that she does heroin because she did it all between her toes.
Oh, yeah, I have a friend that tried to hide it, but it's like...
why you're passed out nonstop.
Yeah, something's wrong.
Yeah. Okay, so you kept a job throughout all this.
I did. Yeah, I lost a couple jobs too, and I would use things like as excuses to like not be like I would make shit up all the time. Oh, my dad's really sick and in the hospital, and I have to go visit him. I would just stay home and get high.
Right.
Or like, oh, I'm sick, or I have pneumonia. Or whatever, you know, and it was because I was smoking heroin.
Right.
And I would just always use it as an excuse to, you know, how to get out of work. That was like my favorite thing, which is actually one of the reasons why I do what I do now. But I'll get to that later.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I checked myself into rehab, which is where I met Avery.
Hi, Avery. We met at rehab. Isn't it funny though how you meet people at rehab and they actually become friends, like
Dude,
real friends?
My fucking sister, pretty much.
I had never been to rehab before.
Okay.
I had been to like detoxes, but I would never stay more than 24 hours. I'd always AMA.
What rehab did you go to?
Am I allowed to say that?
Probably.
Well, I'm just kind of curious, like how you got into it, because like Salvation Army has a really good rehab program.
Yeah, no, I went to a fancy ass rehab that my insurance paid for.
Hell yeah, for insurance.
I worked in an insurance benefits administrator, so I had pretty good insurance.
Right.
And it just would have been dumb. So it was out in Fountain Hills, Arizona.
Okay.
They were pretty new. And she was actually in the intensive outpatient program.
By the time
she
got there.
So she was coming to daytime groups, and I was living there.
Okay.
I didn't quite know what to expect. I knew a little bit based on like seeing rehabs come to meetings. But it was it was so different than I guess what I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's because the rehab was kind of newer or because it's just who I am. Like, I find ways to dope fiend every situation that I can, how to manipulate, how to get more freedom, how to, you know, I don't know. So I checked in there, it was the end of March. It was actually on my dad's birthday. And 17 days later, I found a way to get high in rehab. I had gotten a day pass. I had gotten kicked out of my house, so I had gotten a day pass, like my house that I lived in. So I got a day pass to go move out of the house, and I was with people that were in recovery, but I still found a way.
Right.
And then, so my clean date is April 9th, 2016.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Again, big thanks to both of these two. They're awesome. I can't give them enough props. And to everybody who's done, you know, a video with us so far, they're coming up. I got a lot of podcasts and everything that I have to get up. And if you want to be part of one of these, if you want to do a video, I do a lot of traveling. I'm more than happy to be able to set something up where we can meet up and we can do a face-to-face video if you want. If you want to do a podcast over the phone, just, you know, check us out online. Hit me up. Let me know. More than willing to be able to do it with you. I love sharing everybody's stories, because the more that stories that we share, the more that we know we're not alone, and we just, again, never know who our words are going to reach, and it really comes down to just people helping people, and it's an amazing gift that we're given. So if you want to be part of this, if you want to share your story with us, you know, hit me up, let me know. I'd love to have you here for the journey.